Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You're Getting Screwed. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Today I'm going to be following up on a topic that I've been going over for a while on this channel, which is Amazon and fake reviews. I'll give you a brief overview because a lot of these videos I've done in the past are 20 to 30 minutes long, and I don't expect you to watch all of that to get up to speed. The TLDR of many of these old videos is that on Amazon, you used to be able to buy products of quality. You would see a great selection across all brands, and there was once a time on Amazon where you could actually trust the reviews. Scott Galloway used to talk a lot about the death of brands, and I agree with him to some extent. No longer were you stuck buying a Hoover vacuum and just trusting that it was a brand. You could go to Amazon, and a company that nobody's ever heard of could have a product with 10,000 five-star reviews. You would buy it and receive it, and it would be a considerably better value than real large brands. And that was an amazing thing. Unfortunately, the way things become enshittified over time, as Cory Doctorow likes to say, this is no longer the case. Amazon is a place where the merchants are often, in my opinion, being treated like complete and utter garbage, and as a result of being treated like garbage, they leave. And the void is then filled by merchants that don't care and sell you garbage. When you go to Amazon.com nowadays, instead of seeing trusted brands, you'll often see names that sound like Blackberry the Kitten walked across a Scrabble board and they just decided to take the first set of letters that came up. You'll see Cusby and Bizper and stuff like this. Now, I'm not a brand snob when it comes to any of this, but I do care about getting products that are not likely to kill me. So to give you an idea of why many merchants may be pulling out of Amazon faster than my father wishes he had 36 years ago, I'll just give you an example here in an 11-year-old video that I did. A customer needed to purchase a fluorescent backlit screen for their Acer 5517, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's been 11 years. He needed a fluorescent backlit screen, like an N156B3 LOB, and he bought the wrong screen. He, like many customers back then, did not buy the screen he needed because that screen was about $20 more expensive as a result of being discontinued. He purchased this screen, where as you could see, the connector is on the bottom left rather than being on the top right because it's a different type of screen with a different connector. So what he did is he folded this around after cutting it to try and figure out how to get this to fit, which is obviously completely and utterly ridiculous because now the connector's on backwards. It was very stupid. And at the end of the day, this customer filed an A to Z claim. I responded to everything before he sent the screen back. Not only did he get all of his money back, but I got a negative mark on my account. A lot of merchants that sell quality goods are going to say, you know what? I don't need this shit. I sell good products. My customers are going to come to me on my platform. And a lot of the merchants have pulled out of Amazon in the manner that I stated before. And I've gone over this with a couple of the videos I've done on the quality of some of these products. This over here, I'm going to show you, this was a crimp that, again, pulls out much better than my father did 36 years ago. This over here is a set of fuses. This is a 2 amp fuse that doesn't blow until I put 10 amps through it. So I put 6 amps for several minutes, 8 amps for a minute after that, nothing, and then it finally blows after 10 amps. These fuses blow as often as somebody would my audience if they were not paying to have sex with them, and these reviews are as real as the orgasms of my ex-girlfriend. Here you could see that Amazon is claiming that their reviews are actually real. Our goal is to make sure every review is trustworthy and useful. That's why we use both technology and human investigators to block fake reviews before customers ever see them, which again, these reviews that you see on many of these pages for these products that are fundamentally broken and unsafe. When you take a look at some of these products, I have reported this product as unsafe 8 months ago, and it is still here with many reviews. This video that I did on these fuses has like almost 500,000 views on a channel with 2 million subscribers, and as you can see, it is still right there, 4.6 stars, ready for you to buy it and blow something up. And here's the reason for it. As you can see over here, what a lot of these vendors will do is they will send out a gift card that you can only redeem if you leave a positive review and you send the vendor or the merchant proof that you have left a 5-star review. Now again, Amazon claims that this is against their terms of service, and they also claim that they investigate these things. However, when I do a video demonstrating how dangerous this product is that gets almost 1 million views, this one gets over 250,000 views, and I leave a 1-star review, not only is this product still there getting 5-star reviews, but it has not even been taken down as a result of it being mass reported by many members of my audience and myself after I do a video demonstrating how you could repeat this test and see that these products are fake, scams, garbage that could genuinely hurt people. People are not crazy for trying to put 5 or 10 amps through one of those crimps. It is a crimp made for 10 gauge wire, and that is something that can genuinely hurt somebody. When you have a crimp that can handle a 10 gauge wire that essentially does that, there's going to be a lot more resistance there. When you're dealing with fuses, again, people are going to be putting these in their cars, in their motorcycles. You don't want a fuse that doesn't blow when it is supposed to blow. that's bad. It's going to be unsafe. And what they're doing here at this point is they're essentially allowing merchants to literally bribe their customers into leaving a 5-star review. Even if I got a product that I don't think is that great, if you're going to give me $30 or $50 or $100 to leave a 5-star review, I might just do it. And I know what a lot of people on this channel may say. I know what a lot of the naysayers may say, the Amazon and the Jeff Bezos fanboys. They may say, well, listen, how are they supposed to do this? How are they supposed to, like, just because a couple of merchants on Amazon do something that's not right, doesn't mean there's something wrong with the platform. And my opinion, there is, because I've asked 5 of the people that have emailed me with this type of information to let me know what happened when they reported the behavior to Amazon. Not only did many of them not even receive a response from Amazon, but the products that were related to those merchants are still up today and still have many 5-star reviews, even when those products are complete pieces of garbage. When you have a website that claims that they care about the quality of the reviews and they have zero response whatsoever, not just to normal everyday people like you, but when I do a video that literally gets almost 1 million views, do you think they really care? And to be clear, when I mention the 1 or 2 million subscriber thing, I'm not doing that to pretend that I'm above you. Not in any way, shape, or form. I am an idiot, and you could see from many of my videos on board repair what an idiot I am. It is not about me being better than you. Rather, the point I'm trying to make is if they're not going to believe somebody with over 10 years of board repair and electronic repair experience with one of the top-rated repair shops on YouTube, when I'm demonstrating to them how their fuses are unsafe or how their crimps are unsafe in videos that get 1 million views, do you think they care about what you say? They don't even care about the potential negative PR from this. They don't care about your safety. They don't care if people are mass soliciting fake reviews in their platform. They are going to keep doing it because it's cheaper to run that website if there is no intervention whatsoever, if there's no human oversight, if there's nobody checking for these scams. And above all, if you think the product is better, you're more likely to buy it. There's going to be more sales on the website. They're not thinking about long-term trust or how long-term trust in the brand is going to be negatively affected by this type of scam being allowed to left up on the platform. Rather, what they're thinking about is the short-term quarterly return. I don't believe that this is some sort of evil, they're rubbing their hands together, yes, we're going to screw people into it. Rather, what I think is A, it costs money to have somebody actually read that email inbox, and B, after paying somebody to read that email inbox, it results in more products on our website having worse reviews, meaning less sales. So it doesn't have to be a conspiracy when incentives align. It's simply going to be one of these areas where there may be this cognitive dissonance of it's easy to justify. We have so many things to do, that's going to be close to the bottom of the list. Or, my employee said that they're looking through this, so I'm just going to trust that that manager is looking through it. One of my things that my stepmom said as one of the heads of the Brookfield Library for about 20 years is when she had employees, you have to inspect what you expect. If you don't inspect what you expect, you're not going to get it. And I've noticed that with my own company. Even when I have people that I've trusted for 3 or 5 or 7 years, if I'm not constantly inspecting what I expect, they're very easy for things to go horribly awry and for things to not go as I would expect them to go, just because I'm no longer inspecting it. You could say, technically, that you care. You could pretend to care by saying, I checked up on this manager, or that manager could say, I checked up on this person. But if there's a negative consequence to doing the right thing, if there's a negative consequence to doing more work, your brain is going to subconsciously justify not doing the right thing. This is something that I am vulnerable to, and this is something that most of you are vulnerable to, even if you don't think it. And most people are not going to realize that until they're actually put in this position. I was put in this position once, and I talked about it in an older video with regards to a payment issue on one of my websites, where back when I was stupid enough to use PayPal and vBulletin rather than Zenforo and Stripe, back when I was just dumb enough to believe that that setup actually worked, sometimes people would be double billed. And I knew that this website was crappy. I knew that I should migrate, but I just kind of put it off. I didn't really think of it as a serious issue at the time. Every time somebody would complain about double billing, like there was 2 or 4 times this happened, and I just said, yeah, just refund all of their payments just in case there was an extra one that they forgot to complain about. But it wasn't until the 4th one that I thought, let me look into this. Why is this happening? So once the 4th one happened, I assumed, okay, this is not just user error where somebody's like clicking over and over because they're impatient. There must be a serious problem here. And what I found is that the PayPal API and how it was working with vBulletin was just fundamentally horrible and broken. And again, here, I have to think about this. I'm going to be paying for new forum software. I'm going to be taking a day or two to deal with the migration. I have to deal with making backups of my databases. I have to figure out some migration tool to migrate the database over to something that's compatible. I have to do all this work. I have to sign up for a new merchant services processor. I have to get everything perfectly done. I have to send them all this identification in order to get a new merchant services processor because of all the know your customer laws. And I'm doing all of this to essentially make the same amount of money. I could have been an asshole here, because what I noticed after I went through all the payments is it was less than 15% of the people that actually got double billed that were complaining. So what I could have done if I was really an asshole, what I could have done there is I could have said, anytime somebody complained, I'm so sorry for the double billing. Just to apologize to you, I'm going to send you back 4 times what you paid. And that person would probably leave me a good review and say, wow, look at this experience. I would be lying to that person to get a good review by using the money from the people that I screwed. The moment that I realized that happened, I refunded all those people. I stopped what I was doing. I switched over my software. I considered it a business emergency. Why did I not look into that on the first problem? It was easy for my subconscious to say, maybe that person just clicked the mouse button 2 or 3 times the way an impatient person would. And admittedly, the reason that my subconscious did that is somewhere deep down, I realized that if I figure out what's going on here, I'm going to spend probably 8 hours of my time, 16 hours of my time screwing with all this shit so that I can make the same amount of money. Imagine what it's like when there are millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, and you're doing more work to lose it. We are all susceptible to this as humans. The fact that I didn't look into that until it was the 3rd or 4th person it happened to is unacceptable. And the fact that I looked through every single thing and refunded every single person who ever had this problem, not only what they double paid, but in many cases more than what they paid, doesn't make it right. What makes it right is acknowledging this subconscious thing the moment it happens. Because again, I want to make it clear here. It's not, people don't just turn into pieces of shit overnight. They don't just do this. It's just, again, when incentives align. With Apple and parts availability, again, like I talk a lot here about, Intersil and Texas Instruments and not being allowed to sell me a chip anymore. LG not being allowed to sell me screens and stuff like that anymore. So I have to buy an entire motherboard, or I have to buy a display assembly for $400 to $600 instead of buying a screen for $38 to $150. When I talk about these things, how much of it is somebody rubbing their hands together and being evil versus, wait a second. So I have to do all this work to talk to the reverse. I have to do all this work through the supply chain. I have to call those people and tell them to renegotiate that contract so they're allowed to sell to you. And what do I get out of it? Less people buying new products, less people paying us for repairs. I'm not saying that this happens in real time or that they're saying this and they're writing it down and coming to that conclusion. This is a very quick thought process that happens likely in the subconscious. And this is something that Malcolm Gladwell talked about in a book called Blink, which is a very interesting book. And it talks about how, in your brain, there's a part of your brain that makes these very, very quick snap judgments, and the type of snap judgments that you're not really immediately aware of. And these snap judgments, you're not spending 2 hours to come up with a decision. You're making the decision in a quarter of a second. And just because you made the decision in a quarter of a second does not mean that it was a dumb decision. It's just using a different part of your brain that's designed to make decisions that quickly. And I think it's really important to be aware of when that part of your brain is working and to start becoming more familiar with yourself and having a little bit more self-reflection and self-knowledge, because trust me, it is very easy to become that which you hate. It is very easy to become that which you dislike in the world. And that's one of the reasons that I always check myself. I always assume I'm the asshole. I always assume I'm the bad guy. When somebody says, Louis, you're such a great, no, I'm not. I'm not a great guy. I'm a piece of shit like most people in the world. I don't believe I'm a good person because I am as susceptible to this as anybody else. Here's the problem. It's not when your subconscious does that and then you act on it. Because most people are not that self-aware. Even I wasn't that self-aware 10 years ago. You know when it is a problem? When it gets pointed out over and over and over again, and there is no question that there is a problem, and you continue to ignore it. That's where ignorance becomes maliciousness. That's when it becomes unacceptable. Once it gets to that point, something needs to be done about it. If something's not done about it, at that point, I assume the worst, which is you are looking to screw over your users. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. And by the way, before we get into more of this, I did this one last point I want to make. This is a radical channel change that, there's been something you may have noticed on my channel for 12 years, is that there was one staple of this channel that has always existed, which is the large recliner. Even as far back as like 11 or 12 years ago, you always saw me in a comically large recliner. This was the first one, which is the beige one, and then at some point I upgraded to the blue one. Now I am no longer using that recliner, and you will never see that recliner again. This is a big change, and I understand that it's going to be rough on some of you that got used to it. There is going to be a grieving process. The reason I'm doing this is one of the things that I noticed is that it's very easy for me to get tunnel visioned on what I'm doing as a result of, again, that little subconscious part of just saying, I don't want to get out of that chair. And dare I say it, in my opinion, it's not even even as comfortable as this Aeron chair. So I've temporarily brought this Aeron chair upstairs because I much prefer the natural light that I get upstairs to the downstairs studio room. I'm going to find something for down there at some point, and I'm going to be using this less. I realize I'm much more productive because I wind up not tunnel visioning myself into one particular task, and I also feel healthier when I don't use the recliner. Even when I'm watching movies and television, I do not want to use that recliner anymore just because I want to move on to the next phase of my life. And part of that phase of my life is not only going to be treating myself better, having higher standards for myself and who I surround myself with, but also having higher standards for the ergonomics of what I sit on. And an Aeron chair that I can get for like $300 or $400 from Madison Seating on eBay just because it has a few scratches on it, good deal. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.